All right. Speaking and consulting.
I think you like this one because you've been on this for a little while. And
I do. Did you know? Notice I just cut you off because I'm so interested in it. Is I don't know how many people know this. If this is just one of those pop culture things, but apparently, like when people list their fears, like a large percentage of people will list death as a lesser fear than speaking.
Fear of
in public.
speaking, yeah.
And I actually, I gave a speech at graduation in high school, and I was like, this is...
You were like, boner time,
yeah,
I can do
this
this
is
the
like
rest
cool,
of my
like
life.
everybody's paying attention to me, like that's pretty cool. And I spoke at Blog World, and I spoke a time or two, we spoke at Author Marketing, and we obviously did our own event, and I enjoy being up there and speaking, and so yeah, this is something I'm excited.
Well, I always enjoy speaking after I'm done. But beforehand, I hate it. Like I hate it more than anything. And in fact, the last time I bitched out, it was at the Good Life Project, and I was supposed to do the keynote for Jonathan Fields. It was Camp Good Life, and I was supposed to do the keynote that morning. And I'm just like, dude, can you just like maybe sit up there with me and ask me some questions? And he's like, sure. And it was that low key kind of event, so I did, and I think that went over really well. But it's standing up there and like holding that space is. It's a little difficult for me until I do it. But I do see the value, and I do love when it's all over. I like making an audience laugh. I like having them pay attention. I like changing the way they think. And I think we've had a real interest in speaking, but I think we cracked the nut this year. I think at the Avalanche we decided the angle that we could take, which makes a lot more sense. Because I think we both feel this way about speaking. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm speaking for both of us here. But it's the whole idea of, well, if we're going to speak, that's expensive. We have to take time away from work. We have to travel.
Right. Even if somebody covers all your expenses, it's expensive personally and professionally for our opportunity costs.
Right. We drain, and we want to be holding our own events. We want to be doing our own work retreats. And if we're traveling, we want to go to masterminds where we're learning something. So if we're just going somewhere to deliver something else, the pay has to be really good. Like the benefit has to be really good because we are taking money. Like Johnny and I are earners. Like right? Like our job is to bring money into the company. And so
and not to be assholes about it, but there are easier ways to make a lot of speaking fees for us. Like there just are. It's simpler. We get to stay home and we have enough alternate ways to do business that a lot of people speaking is their career.
Right, and it's not.
It's not for us.
It's always been something we would love to do that, but it has to fit into our business. So the question is, how does it fit into the business? Because talking to indie authors, like no disrespect to indie authors, but there's not a lot of money on that stage. Like when you're talking on a stage, the stages that actually pay speakers are like BizOp, right? They're like, because why are people paying a premium to see this person speak? And so we had to figure out a different way to align ourselves with the right messaging. And this really felt right. I mean, the Storyseller's Apprentice is like, you could build a course and a brand around that. But the whole idea that like our company, the engine that our company runs on is story. Story is relative to everything that we do. And there's a couple of other little businesses that will happen throughout the rest of this year that are hinged on story, and the Storyseller's Apprentice, when we build that out, all of that makes sense. And so it just seems like that's the right angle. If we're teaching people how to tell stories in their business and bond with their customers better, keep their customers longer through the strength of story, that is a highly saleable skill. Like that is something that corporate would pay a lot of money for. So now it's a matter of, okay, well, we can see the thing that we want to do and the steps that we can take to get there. So how do we break that down, and how do we position ourselves so that people are willing to, spend money for that?
Right, exactly. So I don't know how much, if anything, we want to go into that. Maybe this is more of a you'll see it. But I think that there are a few sort of big takeaways. Is we need to find a way that has a minimal disruption for us. And I don't know if we want to go into details on that. And also, we like the paradigm of, and I think this is important, and we've run into other people who have this as well, is it's like you either speak very expensive or you speak for free.
Right.
Like if you're trying to make a speaking career, then you need to hit all those in-betweens maybe, because you either need the money and that's the gig, or you want to have stepping stones. And kind of for us, it's like, well, we'll do it. We'll step up to the big stage. We'll take a large speaking fee, or if it's something that fits for us, then we'll do it for free. It'll be the sort of thing where You don't need to pay us.
And I like
small.
that either
Right.
or a lot.
Yeah.
Like you can always do things for your friends. You can always do things for causes that you believe
We've
in.
spoken with just small local events 2 or 3 times now.
But that's
for
fine,
free.
right? That's when you want to go do that thing for free. Like that makes sense. But you also want to be protective of your time and your ambition and the larger thing
And
that
all the
you're
other
trying to-
opportunities that you're trying to do.
Right. So the idea for us is to build the platform, and then we can pick 2 things a year. You know, and I think that if we build that, we can even book like one-on-one consulting for a premium fee. You know, the right company, like we could really help them with their messaging, and so they're talking, you know, and that's the thing. If you're talking about a business with the right scale, like we could go in and help a business who's already making multiple 7 figures, and they're tweaking their messaging is going to put a lot more money in their pockets than we're worth the time, and that just makes a lot more sense than you know, like we could never do that on a stage for authors. It's just not the same opportunities for them.
So our give to authors are things like the podcast. They're you know, still paying but lower cost things like the Smarter Artist Summit. They're you know, small local events that we do, or if we're traveling and we just happen to be somewhere, maybe we do small ones for free. Like those are the gives. Our podcast network.
Well, it's almost like value-based pricing, which I love in concept, but I think it, you know, often doesn't work because people try to fuck you, right? So it's like someone will, like maybe you need something fixed, like your air conditioner, and so you call the air conditioning place and they're like, you know, what do you charge to fix? And I said, well, you know, what's it worth to you? Right? How many flowers are you not going to throw away if your cooler's fixed, right? I've had these like relationships with people before, and I'm like, isn't there just like a set price to fix my cooler? And so you don't want that, but if you know you only have X hours to spend, then you can afford to give, you know, Y number for free to the community, because this Z, you're getting so much per hour, so it's okay, it all evens out. And so I just love that we wanted to speak for a while, we've wanted to make that a part of our business plan for a while, but it had to make sense, it had to fit, and I think we finally cracked that nut.
Right. All right. Well, speaking of speaking, I would say that the natural transition for the next episode would be to talk about kind of our internal networking, speaking sort of thing in the Stone Table and how we're going to make that better.
Yeah, proving that's big. So yeah, it's next.
All right.